Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Let's Talk CFL podcast, episode number 604. I'm your host, Christopher Jones, coming to you live from Merritt, British Columbia. We got a full panel of avid football fans with us tonight, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk. We're in preseason, and we're going to talk football. We're going to do our predictions for this year. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Who's going to do what in the season to this year? We definitely have some differences of opinions, and that's good because what the hell? It's no fun if we all agree with each other. And we also have Sparky's predictions too. So there's going to be five of us. I'll be doing his for him, but there'll be five of us doing this, and you can tell us which ones you think are the best, or which one is more accurate, and which one of us is just completely fucking out to lunch. It's probably me, because I usually am. Okay, let's introduce the panel down the. Well, I guess it's not always the same, but for me, it's the bottom left is Charles Cliff. How you doing, Charles?
Good. I've been absent the last few weeks dealing with some personal issues and stuff like that, but glad to be back here this week.
What's up, Charles? Good to have you back. And Rick McDonald up in the upper right. Is this the same with you guys? Do you have your people in the different positions, or are they all the same?
Well, Rick's in the lower left for me.
Okay, that's where
you are.
In
the lower left for me as well.
Okay. Rick, welcome to the show. Say something now.
Good to be here. Another week, another chat. Get our predictions out of the way. Training camp is underway.
It is so. It's pretty exciting stuff. You gonna make it up to Kamloops to watch the Lions?
No.
No. No, let's be honest about it.
No,
okay?
Let's be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
Too busy.
Okay. And the last but not least, little Willie, Will McDonald. How you doing, buddy?
I am good.
Did you get to some stamps?
Sorry?
Have you got to the stamps training camp yet this year? You said you were going to.
No, I was going to. I think I'll go this week sometime. But I was busy all weekend with lacrosse tournament in Calgary that my grandson was participating in. So that was the whole weekend. And I discovered today that I'm not going to be able to go to the Stampeders exhibition game because my wife has already booked a birthday party for somebody. So I was a little annoyed by that, but oh well, such is life.
That's 100% your fault for not giving her the schedule months ago.
You know what? It wouldn't have made a difference for her. Trust me. Sorry.
Wouldn't have mattered.
She does what she wants, and I just say yes. So let's be honest.
Smart man. You're a lot smarter than you look.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't.
Oh,
anyways,
that was interesting. So what are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about a whole pile of things. We are going to do our picks. We can do that right now, and let's see how it goes. And if we can find some articles to talk about by the end of that, we'll do that. We will talk about Dave Naylor and his stupid comment, his stupid article on quarterbacks. Just shake my head. Okay, so the season predictions, what we're going to do here, we're going to take a division. We're going to start with the Western Division. We're all Western Division fans, all five of us. So we're going to Charles Mubble. We're going to make our picks for the Western Division of who is going to be first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. And we're going to quasi-justify them. Okay? And I know that's a challenge because these are predictions. That doesn't mean that they're accurate. There's just based on an opinion of what you feel is going to happen with the turnovers for each team or lack thereof turnovers. And we'll see what happens. We lost Charles again. Okay. So I'm going to throw it out there. Sparky in the Western Division has taken the Winnipeg Blue Bombers as number one. Says the receiving core is worse with the loss of Lawler and Schoen, but not able to get to the field regularly. The whole team are also older. Now, I don't know what that means. Schoen, what do you mean by Schoen? Schoen didn't leave the Bombers, did he?
Nope.
He got injured.
He got
Yeah,
injured
that was
last
last
year.
year.
And Lawler, is Lawler not still with the Bombers?
No,
Nope,
he's gone.
Yeah,
He's gone.
Yeah.
He's in Hamilton.
He's in Hamilton. That's right. That's
Yeah.
what I thought. Okay. Could be wrong there. Okay, so he's picking Winnipeg to be top in the league. I'm not going to agree with this, but let's play the table here. Charles, who's your number one pick in the West and why?
I am going to pick Winnipeg to finish first in the West for a couple reasons. Continuity. They've still got a large portion of that team back. Experience. I don't think they're going to last the whole season. I think it's actually going to be a bigger dogfight in the West than a lot of people think it's going to be. And honestly, I think any of 2 or 3 teams could be first. But as I've said before, the Bombers have been the best in the West now for about 4 or 5 years. And for me not to pick, I need to see somebody actually beat them before I pick somebody else. I think it can be done, but I need to see it first.
Okay. I happen to agree with that, but we'll see what happens. William.
I tend to agree with Charles, actually, with the Bombers. Yeah, they lost Adam Big Hill, but the guy who replaced Adam Big Hill played all last year because Adam Big Hill was hurt for most of last year. So that's not going to be a big thing. Got a couple of decent defensive linemen. I think Willie Jefferson's getting a little long in the tooth, but oh well. But the most important thing, and until someone proves it otherwise, they still have the best quarterback in the CFL. And that would be Zach Collaros. So, I mean, you never know what he can do. And I think you have to pick them first until somebody doesn't let them be in first. So we shall see.
Rick, what are you going to do?
You know what I'm going to do, Christopher.
Yeah.
I'm a Winnipeg guy.
You're going to give us your homer pick.
I'm homer pick. Going to pick Winnipeg for all the reasons the boys stated. There's a winning culture there. The core hasn't changed that much this year over last year, over the year before. They know how to get it done. They're going to get it done again this year.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, I am actually going to pull the homer pick on this one and go with the Lions. Only for a few reasons. One, as Charles stated, it's going to be a dogfight in the West for top spot. I agree with BC, Winnipeg, and Saskatchewan. I don't think Saskatchewan's going to be able to keep Trevor Harris healthy for the season, so they're going to fall off substantially. So I don't think they're really in the fight, although they could surprise the shit out of us. Zach Collaros we've seen a decline in him in the last couple of years. He's slower and he's not quite as accurate as what he has been. Their running back is amazing. Their receiver room has got holes in it. And whether or not Dalton Schoen can come back healthy is yet to be decided. I mean, he lost the entire year last year, so we don't know whether or not he's going to be capable of coming back at a high level. And we'll see what happens. But BC, I really believe Nathan Rourke is going to be the quarterback in the CFL this year and moving forward. So I like the way that the Lions are sitting. I love their receiving core. Coming back with Butler, what was his first name?
James Butler.
James Butler as a running back. I'm not a big scat back fan, but the guy is amazing. So our offense, if we can have an O-line that comes together, then BC is going to be on the top side of that little group, in my personal opinion. Our defense is strong. Who cares about special teams? That's just kicking. So yeah, I'm gonna pick the Lions on the number one spot, and I'll throw Winnipeg as I almost want to say 1B, but we're going to call it a really close second for exactly all of the reasons that you guys have stated. They're a strong team, and it's very difficult. They've been the number one team for 5 years at least, and you can't take them out of that position unless they've been beaten by somebody else. Well, I'm anticipating the beating. So I'm taking BC 1 and taking Winnipeg in 2. Okay, now Sparky. Sparky has the Saskatchewan. What happened here? Has the Saskatchewan Roughriders in second place. They lost Lanier on the D line, but gained Rose. Net losses the D line to me. Net loss on the D line. QB room is the worst off trading off Shea Patterson for Jake Mayer. Tommy Stevens, no net gain. Prediction Harris will get injured, but will be back to 100% for the playoff run. So that's why he's picking Saskatchewan. Coaching should be better this year under the belts of some great coaches. Will be Winnipeg's biggest threat. Okay, so he's got Saskatchewan in second place. That's Sparky. And for those reasons. And let's go backwards here. Rick, who you got number 2?
I'm going to go BC. With the caveat, it's all on Mr. Rourke's shoulders to do a very excellent job and get that offense clicking.
Agreed. And William. Oh, sorry, Art. You got more, Rick? Go ahead.
Nope, that's it.
And I'm going away from that. I am going Calgary as number 2 because I think Calgary has the second best quarterback in the CFL. And that's all I'm basing it on. And I cannot base anything on Nathan Rourke until he does something. So that's why I'm picking Calgary as number 2.
Right. Well, but based on a quarterback alone, have you seen enough change in the Calgary Stampeders? They were last in the league last year.
The reason they were last in the league last year was because they didn't have a quarterback.
I think the reason they were last in the league was coaching, but that's besides the point.
It was the same as BC last year. They went backwards so fast because they didn't have a quarterback either near the end of the year.
100%. We also had a shitty coach.
Well, okay.
Charles, I like that.
No.
You like what?
Figured out how to
BC
do
Place
this.
just showed up.
The customized background.
Wow, cool. Very cool. Okay, and Charles, and who are you picking in second place there? You got Winnipeg in 1.
I know.
Yeah.
Go
You
ahead.
probably do know, yes, I'm picking the BC Lions to finish in second place for a few reasons. A, Nathan Rourke has a full training camp. I'm not going to put a lot of stock into a guy that came in halfway through the season, especially at quarterback. You're never going to get the timing down with the receivers. They're always 9 weeks ahead of you. I think with a full training camp, he's going to be far back closer to the form we saw a few years ago. Going on beyond that, not just Nathan Rourke, Matthew Betts now has a full training camp. That's a huge thing. A few years ago, he was the sack leader in the CFL. Again, comes in halfway through the season. He had a couple of decent games, but he didn't, again, it's a really tough thing to come in at that point of the season and really be as impactful as you can. He's going to have a full training camp. I like that James Butler is back. I really liked him with him. I was sad when he left, and I'm glad he's back. He played well with Nathan Rourke. I think the receiving corps is still a very good receiving corps. Justin McInnes, Keon Hatcher is back. Javon Catoy. We saw the Aiden Eberhardt kind of come through with some good play last year. And I just think that this is a good football team. I think this was a good football team that just underachieved last year. Remember, they won 7 of their first 8 games. They were hot out of the season, and then they just kind of fell apart. The Vernon Adams injury kind of set them back that they never really fully recovered from. So as long as they can stay healthy, I see this as a second place team. They're one that can actually challenge for first. I'm not saying they're going to finish first, but they can definitely challenge.
If you take your logic that you just said and had said that they were the number one team in the league until Vernon Adams got injured, right?
Mm-hmm.
Agreed?
Yeah.
I think Nathan Rourke's a better quarterback than Vernon Adams.
If they play to their prime, I can see an argument for that. I don't know if I would 100% say it, but I think it's at least a discussion.
Okay, so now we're going to go in a toss-up and run the third pick. This one's kind of interesting. Sparky comes up with BC, lost a lot of talents in the DB room. Needs time for the coaches to gain their feet, both DBs and coaching negatives from last season. Nathan Rourke overrated and won't match Vernon Adams' MVP start. At Sparky, it's an MOP start. MVP is only the Grey Cup game. MOP is for the season. Okay, just thought I'd share that with you for the 28th time. Okay. Mazzoli addition strengthens the QB room, so a wash from last year. I don't know how it's a wash, but that's okay. Won't catch Winnipeg or Saskatchewan, but still much better than Calgary and Edmonton. Away playoff game for the Lions. Sure. Can't argue with them. I'm not going to. BC's in third. William, your turn to jump out front here. Who you got in third place? You got Winnipeg, then Calgary.
I have BC in third.
BC in third.
For all of those things Sparky said, with the exception of, I don't care about DBs. They'll have their DBs. They'll whatever. Okay, that's not the problem. No, if Nathan, and this is third place, only if Nathan Rourke plays the way we've seen him play.
What year? Last year or the year before?
Well, no, he didn't play last year.
Well, he did for 6 games.
Well, he didn't play last year. He sucked last year. Okay.
If he plays the way that he did in 2022, he's going to be they're going to be number one.
Not necessarily. Not the same team.
Okay.
The other thing that everybody is not thinking about, and you brought it up last year repeatedly, was Saskatchewan about a new head coach.
Yes.
A new head coach with no experience in head coaching. So let's see.
That's the big question mark.
And who isn't Benavides is the defensive coordinator, right?
Yeah, they moved him up.
Okay, so that makes a huge difference for them too, because Benavides is a good defensive coach.
Yes, he is.
No doubt about it. So, yeah. Once again, these are all predictions that who knows where they're all going to be.
Yeah.
Injuries, the whole thing. Right?
My big downside on the Lions, and there is one, is Buck Pierce.
Yeah.
He's now a head coach, which he's never been before. He's an offensive coordinator, which I don't think was a real strong suit for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So he has 2 question marks out of his 2 positions. So that is my question mark for the BC Lions.
In reality, he is the offensive coordinator that has lost 3 Grey Cups in a row, right?
100%.
You think about it.
Yes, but he's also the offensive coordinator that got them to 3 Grey Cups in a row. Actually, I think he got them to 4, but that's beside the point.
No, La Police was the offensive coordinator in the first one, the one they won.
Yeah, but that's 19, 20 was canceled. 21, 22, 23, 24. We're talking about 5.
Because Winnipeg won. Yeah, because Winnipeg won back-to-back, and then they've lost 3 in a row.
Oh, that's right, too. Okay.
And I think Buck Pierce was the OC for the second one, because
he was.
Because Police had gone to Ottawa at that point.
I am corrected. Yes, he was. So he has won a great
2019. 2019.
Yes, 2020.
2021.
No, 2021 in Hamilton. I know because I was there.
Yeah. 2019 is the one he won as offensive coordinator.
No, 2021.
No,
in
La
Hamilton.
Police was.
La Police won the first one in 2019.
That's what I was saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay. And Buck Pierce won it in 21.
Yes.
Yes.
And then he lost 3.
Yes.
So Buck Pierce, as an offensive coordinator, got them to 4 straight Grey Cups.
Yes.
It's
Correct.
hard to fault him on that. Losing 3 of them sucks.
Yep.
Okay. Charles, you're position number 3.
Yep. Calgary Stampeders. And honestly, because as we said, this is a dogfight. I can honestly make a case for Winnipeg, BC, or Calgary to finish first. And these are I think these are the 3 strongest teams. I'll get to Saskatchewan when I get to them. But Vernon Adams is a huge pickup.
Upgrade.
There's a massive upgrade from what's his face, the goofball Jake Mayer. Massive upgrade. They also brought in some good receivers, including what's the guy
Dominic
here from
Rhymes.
Vancouver, Dominic Rhymes, but they also brought in the other guy. Which? Yeah,
Dominic Rhymes
the other guy that used to be here in BC?
Yeah, Trevon, what's his name? Jones or something like that. But he's been everywhere, so.
Yeah, that's true. But I think they've got a good receiving core there. They've still got a good running back there. I'm not a big fan of their coach, of course, Dave Dickinson. So it's a big thing that he has to put these tools into proper play. But I think if he does, they're going to be right there in the top 3, battling it out for first place with Winnipeg and BC.
Okay.
Alex Hollins, didn't Alex Hollins sign in Calgary too?
No.
No,
I thought he did.
He went to Edmonton.
Edmonton,
That's
I
right.
thought.
Sorry, he went to the other Alberta team.
You know, the other thing you
Well,
have
good
to
luck
think
with that.
about with all 3 of these teams is they all have question marks at the beginning of the season.
Mhm.
And they could play well or they could play poorly. So we don't know. And like Charles keeps on saying, I think it's going to be a dogfight all year long.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Agreed. It's you and me, Rick. I'm going to take Calgary. I'm putting Calgary in 3rd place solely because I don't think that Saskatchewan is the better team. I just don't think Trevor Harris is going to stay healthy. I'm a big fan of Vernon Adams, and I believe Vernon Adams on a good team can play good football. We proved that last year in BC. Vernon Adams on a bad team can't play worth shit, and we've seen that in Montreal and Hamilton. Was it Hamilton he was in?
Yep.
Anyhow, so Vernon Adams has to have a supporting cast with him. I think he has that in Calgary. I just don't know whether or not the coaching is going to keep up with what needs to be done. That's my big question mark in Calgary this year is coaching. And they got good receiving core, as Charles says. They got a good running back. Their O-line has always been solid. Hard to argue. I'm putting Calgary in 3rd place, although I don't believe they're as strong a team as BC and Winnipeg or Saskatchewan. I just think the wheels are going to fall off the bus in Saskatchewan. Rick, 3rd place for you. You got Winnipeg, BC.
I'm picking Calgary 3rd place as well for pretty much the same reasons. Decent quarterbacking. Vernon Adams, when he plays well. He still has yet to prove to me he can win an important game when it counts. That's why I'm going to stick him in 3rd, and they're not going to finish any higher. I pretty much agree with everything that you guys have said ahead of me about Calgary, so I got them in 3rd.
Okay. Yeah, I think Vernon Adams could have done better for BC if he had stayed healthy throughout the year. Coming back for that one playoff game didn't do anybody any favors. So
he hadn't played. Yeah,
it wasn't fair to him. It wasn't fair to the team. It wasn't fair to the fans. But what the hell else could you have done?
he did what he could do in that situation.
He did what he could do. Okay, In fourth position, Sparky has the Calgary Stampeders. Linebackers are shit. D-line is shit. DBs are shit. Huge loss in the offseason for a crap Dave Dickinson coordinator shit. Rough season ahead for defense. Coaching has gone backwards from last year, but will change help? Probably not with Dave Dickinson. QBs and receivers and running backs are significantly improved. May turn out to be one of the league's best. Loss of Sean McEwen, huge on the O-line. Can he be replaced? Much better O, should overcome the crap D, but not enough for a playoff spot. Geez, Sparky, tell us what you really think.
So after I read that, I sent him a message and said, "Did you renew your season tickets this year?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Yes, he did."
Yeah.
So
Gee, he must be a glutton for punishment. Jesus.
must be.
I just love this. Linebackers are shit. D-lines are shit. DBs are shit.
He basically trashes the whole defense.
Yeah.
Well,
He
well,
didn't
there is
mention
a,
anything about having a great kicker.
no, there is a secret in here that he's employing, right? Like if you set your expectations low, it's easy to have a good year.
Yeah,
And I think he does that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he says that the offense is better than the defense, so it's good. The team is going to improve this year than last. So instead of having him in last place, he's got him in fourth place in the West. Okay, they moved up one position. Sparky, gotta love you. Okay, Rick, what do you want to do here in fourth spot? You got Saskatchewan and Edmonton.
Yeah, I'm torn here because I just hate both teams.
That's
As
kind
I'm
of a Will thing.
as I'm supposed to. I'm a Winnipeg football guy, so I can't like either team. But I'm gonna put Saskatchewan.
You don't.
I'm gonna pick Saskatchewan, and mostly based on your theory right there, Christopher, that quarterback's gonna go down hurt, and then they're fucked.
Yeah. Okay.
Plain and simple, fucked. But
Why? They'll have Jake Mayer.
They'll have Jake Mayer.
Nothing left to say, Willie.
I'm glad I can say that about another team now.
Yeah. Okay, speaking of another team, who you got in fourth place, William?
So let me ask you guys a question.
Okay.
Do you think it's easier to rebuild an offense from scratch or a defense from scratch? Or sorry, that's not the right question. The right question is what can you build quicker, a defense or an offense?
Defense.
That's what I was thinking. Okay. So I am going to pick Saskatchewan for fourth place. And I really believe that Saskatchewan are going to come out at the beginning of the season with guns a-blazing. And I think they're going to be in first place for a while. Because
game one?
I'm going to say first 5, 6, 7 games because they have stayed the most consistent. They have not made a lot of changes. And Corey Mace has another year under his belt. And they did come out pretty good last year.
They were 4-0.
But the same thing's going to happen. Harris is going to get hurt. And then they're fucked. Just like Rick said, they're screwed. And that's going to happen mid-season-ish. And then it's going to go to shit. So
Trevor Harris is 39 years old now.
Yep.
Any minor injury is going to be a setback for him because he is not going to heal the way that 23-year-old Davis Alexander is, or 24-year-old Davis Alexander. It's not going to happen. So if he does go down with a significant injury, he's done for the season.
Yep.
right? I disagree with Sparky saying he's going to get hurt mid-season and then come back healthy and strong at the end of the season. I
He's not coming
don't
back.
see it. I don't see it. It was a very minor injury last year, and he missed 3 games. So, yeah, no, I'm putting Saskatchewan in 4th place just because all of those same reasons, and I have zero fucking faith in Edmonton right now. So, yeah, I'm putting Saskatchewan in 4th, and Trevor Harris is not going to finish the season. They're going to be relying on Jake Mayer to take them to the promised land, and that promised land is not going to be anything worth promising.
Nope.
Charles, you got last run on this one, and you are missing Edmonton and Saskatchewan.
I'm going to put Saskatchewan in 4th. Well, one reason, because I think Edmonton's a train wreck again, but I'll go beyond that. I just think they're putting too much stock and too much on a 39-year-old Trevor Harris. We've all said it. He can't stay healthy. He hasn't for years, and he's not going to do it again. I'm sorry. It's just not. I just think that he is not going to hold up the season. I like Corey Mace. I like a lot about their team. But the drop-off, if he's down and they have to rely on Jake Mayer, well, we saw how well that's worked for Calgary the last few years. It's just not a good situation. And that's my biggest concern in Saskatchewan. I don't think he can stay healthy, whether it's a season ending or long-term, but I just don't have any confidence in him to stay healthy. And without him, I just don't think they're that good of a... I think their defense is pretty good. I think their offense, he elevates that offense. Without them, with a lesser quarterback, they're a so-so offense. With Jake Mayer, I just have no confidence in that whatsoever.
So this is going to be his 2012, 2013. This is going to be his 14th season in the CFL with 2 prior ones in the NFL. So this is his 16th season of professional football. And if you go to his stats, games played, he has stayed healthy through 1 season.
Yeah. There you go.
He stayed healthy, played 18 games in 1 season. And I can't even say that he started them all. He has not started 18 games in a season.
And I can't see him doing it at 39 either.
The only team that he suited up for 18 games was in 2022 in Montreal, and he was splitting the time with Vernon Adams, wasn't he?
I believe so.
I'm thinking, and I'm not. I really thought it was a white guy, but I could be wrong. But anyhow, yeah, he was in Montreal in 2022, and he dressed for 18 games, but he only started 15 of them. So he has yet to complete an entire season. He started 17 games, and in 2018 in Ottawa, he did miss 1 game, and I think that's that wasn't when Henry Burris was there, or was it? Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was the year after.
No?
That's when he took over as the starter because Henry Burris won the Grey Cup the year before he retired.
Okay, that was 2017. Okay, well, there it is. Trevor Harris is he's a retread. It's not going to happen. Okay, let's go over to our 4th position team in the West. Oh, look, Sparky has Edmonton there. Receiver room lost a lot of talent. Lewis Jones-Maya. Only significant add was Dunbar. QB room is the worst in the West with Ford and Fajardo. QB play most critical in this league. No shit. Improved D-line with Serezna, coming back, much improved coaching staff, but they will need time. It's not their time this year, but may see improvements as the year goes on. Great battle with the Stamps for the cellar. So Sparky's taken Edmonton in fourth, and I kind of have to write that straight across the board for all of us because it's the only team left.
Fifth, not fourth.
Sorry, fifth. My bad. Yeah. And I have zero faith in Trey Ford as a quarterback. And I'm really tossed on Mark Killam as a rookie coach. I am never happy with rookie coaches in their first year. Corey Mace was a very pleasant surprise to me. I did not anticipate that in Saskatchewan last year. I am challenged with Buck Pierce in BC and Mark Killam in Edmonton. I think BC is the better team, so at least they got a quarterback.
So you're picking the
that?
Elks. You're picking the Elks, are you?
Did I? Yes, Edmonton.
I think everybody is.
Everybody did. I wrote it straight across the board.
Okay.
Are you picking anybody else to be fifth place in the West?
Well, there's no one else to pick.
Can we bring in the Atlanta Schooners or something and put Edmonton in sixth? I mean,
well, I
might do that.
The reason I think Edmonton is going to be so poor this year, yes, they hired Mark Killam, but I'm looking at his coaching staff, and there's hardly any experience. I mean, they have Aaron Grimes, who just retired as the D-backs coach.
Yeah.
Okay,
I know.
They got J.C. Watt, who coached 1 year in Calgary, and so remember the last team that had all pretty much no coaching experience? I think that was the BC Lions with
BC Lions with Devon Claybrooks.
Claybrooks and Nick Lewis and all those guys.
Nick Lewis, Drew Tate.
And it was a clusterfuck disaster.
Oh, yeah, it was scary.
A complete waste of Mike Riley.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it destroyed him. Killed him. He didn't need that. He didn't deserve that.
He was on his back the entire season.
And he still led the league in passing until he got hurt. Okay. We are done with the Western Division. Does anybody have anything else to say about these 5 teams?
I think it's going to be fun.
I think 3 of those teams can interchange throughout the entire season.
I agree
with you.
3?
3.
We're not agreeing on the 3.
No, we're not. We are, sort of.
Yeah, I thought we were. I think we're talking about BC, Calgary, and Winnipeg.
Yeah.
But we cannot rule out Saskatchewan.
You can the minute Harris gets hurt, because then Jake Mayer,
100%.
Then Jake Mayer's going to be the quarterback. And I know you and Charles love Jake Mayer, but he's horrible.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Okay, so I don't think that BC, Winnipeg, and Saskatchewan can fight for first place. I don't think BC, Winnipeg, and Calgary can fight for first place.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We shall see.
I don't think Calgary can fight for first place. They're
see.
solid third.
Okay.
I said they were a solid third last year, and they ended up 5th.
But here's something I'll say right now. If Nathan Rourke shits the bed, BC will be in last place.
I agreed.
No, it's Mazzoli time.
That's exactly what Will said.
You know what,
shits
Charles?
the bed.
I looked today, Charles, and Jeremiah Mazzoli has not played a full season since 2018.
Is that a problem?
Yeah, I think
Here we are talking about Trevor Harris getting injured.
But that's okay for a backup.
Yeah, okay, unless your starter gets hurt in the first game of the season, and then you're screwed.
And then there's a problem.
Yeah.
right?
Well, maybe we'll just go out and sign Kevin Glenn.
And I mean, I don't think BC has any other quarterbacks. They have one other quarterback, but I've never heard of him.
Chase Bryce is probably the third
Yes.
stringer.
Yes.
And Bryce is a decent quarterback.
Yeah, but he's young still. I mean, he I don't think
He's
ready
not
for
going to
prime
pick the
time.
team up and carry him to the promised
Not a
land. That's not
chance.
going to happen. No.
I don't know. Maybe Buck Pierce is still in good shape. Maybe he's
Round
gotten over
is a
those.
shape.
Maybe he's gotten over those concussion.
I'm ready
protocol.
for one more concussion.
Yeah. Just saying.
Come hit me.
Yeah. Anyways, I guess we should talk about the East too, eh?
Well, I
We can
guess,
do that.
if we have to.
Yeah.
Sparky has the Toronto Argonauts in first place. The quarterback play will be better with Chad Kelly available the entire year. We don't know he's going to be available yet. He hasn't had any lawsuits against him yet. Keyword. Anyhow, losses on the DB and linebacker significant for one of the league's best defense, but still has a ton of talent. Defensive line is better with Lanier and Brian Cox additions. DBs need rebuild with loss of Adelake.
Adelake.
Amos and Mechie. Kelly for a full season should hold off the Owls and win the division. So Sparky has Toronto in first place. Charles, who are you going to take in the West or in the East? Sorry.
I'm kind of going against what I said in the Western Division with Winnipeg saying, let me see you beat them. I'm actually going to go with Montreal, mainly because I think they've got a really, really good defense. Davis Alexander, rookie starter. I mean, he certainly played quite a bit last year and looked very impressive. As a starter, he's got to go out there and show it as a starter. It's different, even when you're starting as a backup than when you're the number one starter. But I think there's enough talent on that team, especially on their defense, that I think that they're going to do pretty well. And as long as the offensive line in Montreal, which has usually been pretty good, can't protect Davis Alexander, I really think they're going to win the division. I think they're going to be a very good team this year. So I know Sparky's going with Toronto, and there was they're the defending Grey Cup champions, so there's that urge. But for some reason, I'm thinking Montreal's going to take this. So I'm picking them to finish first.
Okay. Rick, you're chomping at the bit there. You need to come on. Oh, he's got his papers.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to say Hamilton first place. They're due. They've improved everywhere. And I like Hamilton. None of this
Rick and I had a very good conversation before you other two came on board. And we both seem to be comparing notes with Hamilton being in first place in the East. And both of us liked it on all levels. So Bo Levi Mitchell was the number one quarterback in the league last year. They've got a good receiving core. They got a good running back. They've improved their defense. They're hard to argue with. And Scott Milanovich, regardless of what anybody wants to say, is a damn good coach. So I'm picking Hamilton. I'm taking Hamilton to be first in the East. That's two Hamiltons, a Toronto, and a Montreal. What are you going to do, William?
I think it's not even.
Did you hear what I said about Bo?
I did, but I'm going to ignore that because you change your mind on people all the time. Okay, you really do. You thought Bo was the worst quarterback on the face of the earth when he was the best quarterback on the face of the earth many years ago.
Oh, he's a mediocre quarterback.
Yeah, there we go. Here we go with this. And then, but if you remember correctly, he was a mediocre quarterback on a good football team.
Yes.
But the head coach of that good football team was Dave Dickinson, who you think is a terrible coach now. So you're just contradicting yourself all over the place. Anyways,
life changes.
I think Montreal is going to run away with it. I don't even think it's going to be close this year. And the reason for that is because I think they improved their team where they needed to improve their team, and that was at quarterback. And I think their defense is fantastic the way it is. Their offense, Danny Machocha, for some reason, he drafts all those Montreal offensive linemen, and they do fantastic for him. And I think they're gonna win hands down, to be honest with you. So, and it also helps that I can't stand Toronto. Anyways,
Okay. We can see everybody here. Charles,
Yep.
Mhm.
Are you ready? Put up your hand if you like Toronto. Unanimous.
Mhm.
Okay. Number 2. In second place, Sparky has Montreal. QB improved with commitment to Alexander and the signing of Macbeth. They do have the best backup in the league, I believe.
Mhm. You got
It's
that.
arguable with BC and Jeremiah Mazzoli, but I would take McLeod Bethel-Thompson over Mazzoli. Reggie White loss in the receivers will be felt D-line improvement with 2 vet signings, including Oakman. Alexander needs to perform. If so, Argo's biggest threat. Won't do it if Macbeth alone. I don't know. I do. I think Macbeth is probably going to end up being the starter in Montreal before the end of the season. But Sparky's got Montreal in second place.
Email from Moore's Clothing. Joseph about casual shirt.
Okay.
What the fuck was that?
it's
Something
my
about
phone.
more clothing.
Sorry. It's my phone.
Okay. CJ, I'll jump up on this one. In my number 2 position, I am going to take the Montreal Alouettes for pretty much every reason that Will said. Their downside right now to me is the inexperience of Davis Alexander. And how long is Machocha and or Jason Moss going to leave him in there before they wank him out for McLeod Bethel-Thompson? So that's kind of where I'm putting him. Put Montreal in number 2 place behind Hamilton. I wouldn't be surprised if they switch and Montreal walks away with it, but I got to see something from Davis Alexander before I can do that. Rick, what's your call here? Number 2 position.
I hate to be a repeater, but I'm going Montreal as well for pretty much the basic same reasons. Once again, they are a solid team.
Hang on, you cut out. We didn't hear a thing of that. Start over.
I did.
I did.
Montreal in number 2 for the exact
Okay.
reasons that you spoke of, Christopher. I don't disagree on any point.
Okay. Was Rick coming through to you, or was it just me? I'm trying to figure out if it's my connection here.
I don't
It
know.
is
I
your-
heard him loud and clear.
I heard him too.
You heard him well?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my bad. Okay. Will, second place.
Second place.
Who's coming in? Who's coming in
Yeah.
behind Montreal?
I am gonna say Hamilton, I guess. And for all the reasons you guys talked about, I'm not crazy. They hired Brent Munson in the offseason as their defensive coordinator. Okay. Brent Munson had great players in Calgary last year on defense, and their defense was shit. So their defense has gone backwards ever since, Devon Claybrooks left Calgary. So, Brent Munson replaced Devon Claybrooks. I'm not a big fan of his, so, but I will go with second overall because they have Bo, and Bo hopefully will have a decent year this year.
Okay. I can
If he
accept all
doesn't
of that.
If he doesn't get hurt, because he is also gets hurt a little bit in the last couple of years, if you remember correctly.
But he ran so much last year. He had more yards rushing last year than he has in his entire 10-year season prior.
No, in his entire football career. Sorry.
Career.
Like from
Okay.
junior high to pros. Okay. Anyways,
Okay.
but yeah.
Charles,
So go ahead, Charles.
who you got number 2?
I hate to do this because I don't like them, but I'm going to go with the Toronto Argonauts. They did win the Grey Cup last year. They've still got a really, really solid defense anchored by Wynton McManus. I hate Chad Kelly, to be honest, but he can put up some decent numbers. And they brought back Nick Arbuckle if he falters. So they've got a decent 1-2 punch at quarterback as well. They lost some players, but they brought back a large portion of that core. I mean, I know we were critical of him when he was hired and for a while, but I mean, you can't say that Nick Arbuckle, you can't say that the Argos coach, Ryan Dinwiddie, isn't a good coach because, quite frankly, he's won 2 Grey Cups. He's had some, especially adversity last year with his starter being taken out and suspended and stuff like that. He still kept them in it. He still got them to the Grey Cup. He seems to have a grasp on what he's doing. And like I said, a large portion of that team is back. I don't think they're going to be this dominant to finish first, but I still think they're still a pretty good football team, even though I dislike them immensely. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Toronto to finish second in this one.
Okay. The one name that everybody seems to be ignoring is Cameron Dukes. And I think he played some really good football there in relief of Kelly the year before. Kind of faltered a little bit, and that's why they put Nick Arbuckle in last year. And they never went back to him.
Cameron Dukes was a bit too inconsistent. He would look great one game, but then just look like a disaster the next game.
Yeah, and he needed some maturity.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I think he got it last year by playing. He played the first 7 games, did he not?
Yep.
Well,
so then again, you can make an argument the Argos have the best QB room in the league because, say what you want about Chad Kelly, but they got him, they got Arbuckle and Cameron Dukes. That's pretty good depth. That's pretty good depth at the quarterback position that most teams don't have.
You could strike Chad Kelly off that roster and they'd still be a force to be reckoned with.
Which is why I picked them second.
Yeah. I just can't do it. I hate the motherfuckers.
I do too, but I'm trying to take personal feelings out of this because if I hadn't, Saskatchewan would have been last.
It's no fun.
No, we've always had personal feelings against Saskatchewan and Edmonton, so come on. Yeah. Okay. So that's our 2 position right across the board. A little inconsistent, but it's kind of close. In 3rd place, Sparky has Hamilton, improved at all positions except QB, and he says QB position is not needed. Okay. They don't need to improve on Bo Levi Mitchell.
Okay, I see what you mean.
That's kind of what he's saying. Improved receiving core with Lawler, DB improvement with Stubblefield and Amos, D-line improved with Houseware, returning steady improvement. Can Bo have another good year, except enough to keep them in front of the improving All Blacks? This is not New Zealand. But not enough to catch the league's second best team, the 2 best teams in front of them. Okay, so that's he's got Hamilton in 3rd. Doesn't have a lot of faith in them. We'll leave that one be. William?
Yeah. I hate to do this, but I'm going to say Toronto. For all the reasons that Charles talked about. They do have Chad Kelly, and when he's on, he's a decent quarterback. They still have a good defense, but the biggest part of their defense last year was their D-backs, and they're all gone. Like, their 3 stars, they're gone. Never to be heard from again. And that's going to be a big problem, I think. So, yeah, but they should, it's the East, so they could be anywhere from 1st to 4th. Right?
I don't think they could be in 4th.
They could be.
But agreed with you there. Charles, you got Montreal and Toronto. Who's your 3rd?
Hamilton's the 3rd. Honestly, I went back and forth between Toronto and Hamilton for 2nd place. My biggest question mark with Hamilton, I think they're actually a very good football team. I haven't forgotten the years before last year where Bo Levi Mitchell seemed to struggle year in, year out for about 3 or 4 years. With his last couple of years in Calgary and even his first year in Hamilton, I didn't think he'd be back for a 2nd year in Hamilton. Played great last year, not a question. At his age, can he put 2 back-to-back seasons like that? He's got a good new weapon in Kenny Lawler. They've got some other good receivers. Can he be consistent enough to put 2 back at his age? I'm not 100% convinced. I'm not saying he can't do it. I got to see it happen. I just like with other things.
Is he finally healthy?
Biggest question mark. He's finally healthy. At his age, is he going to stay healthy? We don't know. He was pretty healthy most of the year last year, but
yeah, but the 3 or 4 prior to that, he was not healthy.
True, but is he going to stay healthy all year again? That's the question mark. That's the biggest question mark. That's the main reason I put Hamilton to 3rd.
He's 36 years old?
Something like that.
Because I think Zach Claros is 38.
Yeah, I was going to say they're like the same age pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trevor Harris is 39, Claros is 38, and Bo is 36. And we're going to discuss the quarterback rooms, I guess, when we talk about the Dave Naylor thing in a little bit here. But, yeah, okay. Rick, your number 3 pick in the Eastern Division.
Ottawa.
Really? I thought we were going to be unanimous on something, but
I told you earlier, Charles, I got gut feelings, and I think I like what I saw last year. I can only see them getting better, and they were on the edge last year, I think, of doing much better. So I'm going to pick Ottawa.
Okay. There you go. I'm going to take Toronto in 3rd spot, only because they're there, and I can't put Ottawa there. I don't like Bob Dice as a coach, and I don't particularly like Drew Brown as a quarterback. He's just absolutely done nothing to impress me. I would rather have had Dustin Crum running, but so be it. So I've got Ottawa, Toronto in 4th, Ottawa in last place. Rick, you obviously are putting Toronto at the bottom of the Eastern Division. That's pretty ballsy, considering they're Grey Cup champions.
I was at that Grey Cup, so that might be part of why I'm putting them in last.
Okay. William, you're going to put Ottawa down at the bottom?
Yes.
You want to say anything about that team?
Specifically because I don't think Bob Dice is a good head coach.
Yeah.
It's the only reason. Drew Brown should be better this year because he's got a year under his belt. You know?
You could have said the same thing about Jake Mayer in Calgary.
If he's not, then he's going to go the way of Jonathan Jennings, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
No. He was never as good as Jonathan Jennings. Jonathan Jennings came in and lit it up. I've never seen Drew
I'm talking about Jonathan Jennings when he played in Ottawa. He was horrible.
That was fucking putrid.
He was horrible.
Oh yeah,
And he
no,
would
that
take
just
quarterback, I don't
absolutely.
think.
I
stunk
remember
it up.
that
No,
year. That year, Ottawa's quarterbacks were Jonathan Jennings and Dominic Davis.
Davis.
There's
Gee,
a
I wonder
QB
why they
room
had
for
such
you.
a lousy record.
That
we
may
did.
be that QB room may actually be worse than the Elks this year.
Well, and I don't know. Did we announce on the show that Dominic Davis has retired? Just
No,
in case
nobody
people
cares.
didn't know.
Yeah,
Nobody cares.
that was the Devon Claybrook's season in BC as head coach, where they was one of the worst Lions teams in recent memory. They crushed Ottawa both times they played them,
Yes, they did.
and that was almost the extent of their wins.
Embarrassing as it is.
Yep.
Okay, and Charles, you taken Ottawa for
Yeah,
last place, obviously.
Similar reasons to you. I mean, I like Bob Dice. He's a nice guy. I think he's way too much of a player's coach. I think he's too close to his players. It's okay to have a good relationship with them, but I think a coach can be too close. I'm not convinced that he's a great guy to be running the ship. Drew Brown I'm not buying into Drew Brown. He played okay in some games. He didn't look like an effective full-time starter to me. I don't like the fact that they lost Dominic Rhymes because he was one of their best weapons last year. He flew the coop. He's gone to Edmonton or Calgary to join Vernon Adams. I don't know. There's nothing. I mean, they always seem to get quantity in free agency in Ottawa. They never really get the quality, and they kind of just spin the wheels. Can they sneak into the playoffs again this year? I don't know. Maybe if
It's
one of
the
the other
East,
teams
so
gets some
yes, they
injuries,
can.
but I guess anyone can. But if I'm picking, they're my number 4 pick easily in the East.
Yeah. Okay, so Sparky's the only one left. So this is what he says. Very few losses in the off season. Okay, now what does Will say about teams that don't win the Grey Cup?
They
They
can
weren't good
change
enough.
everything.
You need to change everything. Ottawa changed very few things. They didn't do enough to improve. They improved their O line, their D line, their DB groups.
But they
According to
did get
Sparky,
they did get a new defensive coordinator, William
they did.
Fields.
Rick
William
Campbell.
Fields. So
Rick Campbell's there.
no, he's the special teams coach.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yes. Yes, and that's all he should be. Okay.
Oh, fuck, I wouldn't put him there.
Well, no, but he's there because and the scariest thing is if Bob Dice gets axed through the season, they're gonna.
Rick's the head coach. He'll be back being head coach.
But they did sign Bob Dice to 2 years this offseason, so they must be happy with him.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. Okay, Ottawa will do better than the Stamps and the Elks, but they'll still be 4th in the East. So that's the next question here. We're going to do this really quickly. And Sparky didn't do it, so we're not going to be able to continue this one. We want to do an overall league. Okay?
Okay.
This is going to be challenging.
Why?
Why is it going to be challenging?
Yep.
Oh, because it is. William, first overall.
Montreal.
Number 2? Winnipeg.
Yep.
Number 3, you got Calgary or Hamilton?
Calgary.
Okay. In 4th place, you have BC and Hamilton.
BC.
In 5th place, you have Saskatchewan or Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Hamilton in 5. In 6th place, you have Saskatchewan and Toronto.
Toronto.
In 7th place, you have Saskatchewan and Ottawa.
Saskatchewan, Ottawa, Edmonton.
In eighth place, you have Edmonton and Ottawa. Who are you going to pick?
Ottawa, then Edmonton.
Ottawa, then Edmonton. Edmonton's in the basement. Okay, we're going to do this. That's how we're going to do it. Rick? Montreal, Hamilton.
Winnipeg.
Sorry, Winnipeg, Hamilton. My bad.
Winnipeg.
Thank you, Will. Winnipeg.
Winnipeg.
Okay. BC, Hamilton.
BC.
Calgary, Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Montreal, Calgary.
Montreal.
Calgary, Ottawa.
Calgary.
Saskatchewan, Ottawa.
Ottawa.
Saskatchewan, Toronto.
Toronto.
Saskatchewan, Edmonton. Oh, sorry. Then you obviously got Edmonton Saskatchewan at 7 and Edmonton at 9.
Bingo.
Okay. We can't do this for Sparky. So Charles, Montreal, Winnipeg.
Winnipeg.
BC, Montreal.
BC.
Calgary, Montreal.
Montreal.
Calgary, Toronto.
Toronto.
Calgary, Hamilton.
Calgary.
Saskatchewan, Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Saskatchewan, Ottawa.
Saskatchewan.
Edmonton, Ottawa.
Ottawa, then Edmonton.
Okay. William, we've done that. We've done that. Okay, we'll do CJ. I'm gonna do BC,
Homer,
Winnipeg.
bitch.
I'm sorry?
Nothing.
BC, Winnipeg, Hamilton, Montreal, Calgary, Toronto, Saskatchewan, Ottawa, Edmonton. And the only thing that we know about Sparky is he is taking Calgary in 7th place. No, Ottawa in 7th place over Calgary and Edmonton. We don't know about the other positions, and it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
But William, what will you want to say?
No, nothing. Are we?
Who's going to win the Grey Cup?
Right. You asking me?
Yes.
It's going to be Winnipeg, Montreal.
Who's going to win it?
I'm going to say Winnipeg.
Okay. Rick, in the Grey Cup.
Winnipeg, Hamilton. Winnipeg wins.
Charles.
I can't watch Winnipeg in another Grey Cup. BC, Montreal.
Who wins?
BC, of course.
I can't do it. Yeah, BC. I can't do it. I kept saying to myself I was going to say Montreal. I know I'm not going to. Who am I kidding?
In the Grey Cup, it's going to be BC and Hamilton. BC's going to beat them. Nobody picked an Eastern team to win the Grey Cup.
And wait, who was
They got the Grey Cup last year.
Sparky's pick was who? Sparky's pick was Saskatchewan and
Saskatchewan and Montreal, with Montreal winning. Sorry, Sparky gets an Eastern team to win.
there you go.
He doesn't have Montreal as the number 1 team in the East. He has Toronto, but
Right.
Montreal's going to take Toronto out in the Eastern final, obviously.
Makes sense.
And And Saskatchewan is going to take Winnipeg out in the Western final. Yeah, he has in the Western semifinal, he has BC and Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan beating BC. Eastern semifinal is Hamilton, Montreal. Montreal winning. Western final, Saskatchewan, Winnipeg with Saskatchewan winning. Not a fucking hope. Eastern final is Montreal and Toronto with Montreal winning. Montreal winning it all. So they're going to play 3 playoff games next year.
You know how many Winnipeg fans are going to puke if Saskatchewan plays in the Grey Cup in Winnipeg?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's going to be BC in Winnipeg. It's going to.
That's kind of the only reason I would want to see Saskatchewan in the Grey Cup this year, to see the total meltdown of the Winnipeg fans.
Yes. I mean, if it's not BC in the Grey Cup in Winnipeg, I want it to be Saskatchewan. Just cause. Okay, anything else? Anything to add? Charles?
Yes, I have one thing to add. I'm very impressed with the BC Lions getting Snoop Dogg on their opening day of football season. Like, wow.
Charles's birthday, by the way.
Yes.
There he goes. Big thumbs up there. Isn't Snoop Dogg a dinosaur rapper or something, like somebody from like the first gen rapper?
Well, he was popular in the 90s and the early 2000s. That was probably his heyday. I mean, he's a little older, but he's actually still very popular because you see him everywhere.
And CJ, he's only worth $160 million. So
yeah. Money doesn't impress me.
Well,
strangely, also he's very good friends with Martha Stewart.
He's very popular right now. He's in everything now. He's in everything.
He's an interesting dude. I mean, he gets his first record deal and years later buys the label.
Yeah.
And he has his own football league down south for kids.
Yes, he does. He's a huge Steeler fan.
Yes.
He's a football guy. He's a
good football guy.
Yeah,
he's an odd duck in my book, but he's a football guy.
I believe his son actually played or is playing in the NCAA.
Okay, Rick,
yes.
Do you see the screen in front of you?
Yes.
How many people do you see on it?
4.
Please point out the one that's not an odd duck. You can't.
I'm not odd. I'm not odd.
100% you're odd. Yeah.
If you look up the word normal in the dictionary, you will see my picture.
No. And you know what? That is nothing to be proud of. Yeah, nothing to be proud of. I would not want to be normal. No fear of that. But there you go. So that's our I'm down to 7% on my iPad here. So let's find out what Charles has grabbed up this.
I threw a few things and we don't have to I'd be too detailed on them.
Let's talk about the first one. Let's read that whole article.
Oh God.
Why was Scott Milanovich pissed at Bo Levi Mitchell?
Because he wasn't protecting the ball.
Throws too many picks.
He told him to take care of the ball, and he wasn't taking care of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's been a Bo Levi problem for a few years.
If you remember correctly, he pulled Bo Levi last year for...
He did.
For what's his name?
Taylor Powell.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And then what happened? Powell got injured.
Yep. Bo went right back in.
Okay, so Dave Naylor, CFL insider at TSN, wrote an article, and the title is CFL season begins with unprecedented quarterback depth.
He did say depth. He didn't
Is
say
he speaking?
depth, right?
Oh,
He
yeah.
didn't say depth, right?
He said depth.
Okay.
Okay.
Is
I
he
look
talking
at,
about
we have,
lack of depth?
well, actually, the depth isn't bad. It's the starters that suck. If you look at it, we have 9 starting quarterbacks. 3 of them are dinosaurs. Zach Caleros, Trevor Harris, and Bo Levi Mitchell. Okay. 3 of them are mid-range in age and ability, which is Nathan Rourke, Chad Kelly, and
Vernon Adams.
who's the third one? What?
Vernon Adams.
Vernon Adams. Okay. And then we have 3 youngins in Davis Alexander, Drew Brown, and Trey Ford. I'm not excited about any of these quarterbacks. I'd like to say I'm excited about Nathan Rourke and Vernon Adams, but at this point in time, they're both question marks. Zach Claros is on the decline. Trevor Harris is going to get injured, and Bo, we don't know what Bo's going to show up.
Every quarterback is a question mark. Every starter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, what's the depth behind them?
Does Dave Naylor forget that at one point the Calgary Stampeders had Jeff Garcia, Dave Dickinson, and Henry Burris? And he calls this unprecedented depth?
Mm-hmm. I mean, look at Edmonton at one point in time. Didn't they have Tom Wilkinson and Warren
Moon?
Yep.
BC and Travis Lulay and Mike Riley.
And what's his name? At the same time. Sorry.
Yeah.
Winnipeg's
What's
offensive
his
Jonathan
coordinator.
Jennings?
Winnipeg's offensive.
Sorry, yeah.
Oh my God. Yes, him.
Buck
That
Pierce.
guy. Buck Pierce. Thank you.
Buck Pierce. Toronto at one time had Ricky Ray and
Zach Caleros and Trevor
Zach
Harris.
Caleros and
And
Trevor Harris.
So
Hard to argue that.
I don't see the unprecedented depth.
No, because right now you go backwards. You got Jake Mayer. Well, let's start in BC. You got Jeremiah Mazzoli. Big fucking deal.
Mhm.
Cody Fajardo in Edmonton. Who is your backup quarterback in Calgary? Is one?
PJ Walker.
Oh, that's the guy from the UFL, PJ Walker. I remember they signed him.
No. He led the USFL before they went bankrupt. That final season in 2020, he was leading passer in the USFL.
Okay. So
They signed him and they were raving about him and they never played him.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan has Jake Mayer. And Winnipeg has who?
I guess it would be Chris Strebler.
No, they have what's his name from Saskatchewan last year.
Oh, Shea Patterson.
Shea Patterson. And according to them, they have the next one there. And I can't remember his name, but he's only been around for 2 years. So
we've talked about him before. We don't ever remember what his name is.
Yeah, until he plays, we never will.
Toronto, to me, has the best quarterback room with Chad Kelly, Nick Arbuckle, and Cameron Dukes.
Yep.
I'm also really big on the Davis Alexander, McLeod Bethel Thompson.
Yep.
Drew Brown and Dustin Crum that's a no starter.
You realize, just so you know, Drew Brown did throw for 4,000 yards last year, right?
Yeah, and so did Jake Mayer.
Well, okay, good point.
Yep. Ka-ching.
Boom. Hamilton has
Mitchell and Taylor Powell.
PJ Walker also has 21 games of experience in the NFL.
As a starter?
Well, I don't know. I doubt it.
No, we can guarantee it wasn't. He was on the roster. Big whoopee deal. Shit, I think Nathan Rourke's got a few games in the NFL too.
No, he doesn't.
He was on the roster, but he never played.
Same thing.
Yeah, but but all I'm saying is PJ Walker, and I've never seen him play football. I guarantee you he's better than Jake Mayer. Without
He's
Well,
even
not
seeing him
exactly
play.
setting a high bar.
But hang on. In Jake Mayer's defense, okay, and I know this is going to be a challenge for me. Nobody gets to this level of professional play being totally useless. Even Drew Willie was a competent quarterback to a point.
No, he wasn't.
He had to get to a CFL team. How many people did he beat out to get here?
So I have to do some research because you keep on talking about Dustin Crum in Ottawa. They have Matthew Schlitz penciled in as the backup in Ottawa.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd go with Dustin Crum.
Is he still there? I wonder.
As far as I know.
Okay. So here's our 1-2 punch quarterbacks at the end of 2024 season. Bo Levi, Mitchell, Taylor Powell, Drew Brown, Matthew Schlitz, Chad Kelly, Nick Arbuckle, Davis Alexander, McLeod Bethel Thompson, Zach Caleros, Chris Strebler, Vernon Adams, PJ Walker, Trevor Harris, Jake Mayer, Nathan Rourke, Jeremiah Mazzoli, Trey Ford, and Cody Fajardo. If you look at it this way, I don't know. They don't have Shea Patterson in there. They got Chris Strebler as the backup.
Good luck, Mark Killiam.
Good luck to who?
Mark Killiam.
Mark Killam, yes. Yeah.
All right, Trey Ford sucks. Who do I got? Oh, Cody Fajardo, huh? Well,
Yeah,
let's
sorry.
try it. What the hell?
Dustin Crum is still on Ottawa's roster. So.
Okay.
Yeah, they got 5 quarterbacks at camp.
Trey Ford, you know, I'm not big on him. I've never said too much good about him. He is an exciting quarterback to watch, but he really hasn't accomplished anything. His 4 victories have been against Hamilton and Ottawa, and he runs the ball around. If your primary play is a run for the quarterback, you're not an offense.
He struggles
you're
to
not a
read
football
defenses.
team. I don't, you know.
Well, I still think, though, I'm hoping Edmonton does well this year, because that team has been so crappy in Edmonton for a number of years now. People aren't coming. They're staying away. And that's too bad.
Well, I'm going to a game in Edmonton this year, so I'll have lots of leg room.
Yeah, you will.
I don't see confidence in the Edmonton Elks.
I don't think they significantly improved.
Well, if anything, I think they may have gone backwards from the beginning of last year.
They might have.
As Will points out, the coaching staff has no experience.
No.
I had more faith in Chris Jones.
And like I said,
10 times more.
The last special teams coach who got hired as a head coach was Mike O'Shea, and he's done well, but the first 5 years weren't pretty.
He took a long time to get good.
Yeah, he did.
That's not true.
Excuse me?
The last special teams coach to get hired as a head coach was Craig Dickinson.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree.
Also not
I'm going to disagree with you, because he was a number of other different positions before he got hired as a head coach.
He was a special teams coordinator for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and he got elevated to the head coaching position.
Yeah, but before that, he had different positions on different teams.
Was he ever a defensive coordinator? Was he ever
Well,
an offensive
he's
coordinator?
not
No,
a defensive
he wasn't.
coach. He's not a defensive
What?
coach. He was never a defensive coach.
No. So he was a special teams coordinator, was the highest position that he held before he became a head coach. And look at Ryan Dinwiddie. His highest position was a quarterback coach.
That's true.
Now I'll pick an offensive guy over a defensive guy any day. And how do you even take a special teams coordinator and make him a head coach? What fucking world does that? Well, we just did it with Mike O'Shea, with Mark Killam, and with Craig Dickinson. Just goes to show you how stupid it is when we have head coaches wearing hats, way too many hats. And I don't like Buck Pierce as a rookie head coach also being an offensive coordinator.
I
That is
personally
the
don't like
biggest
any
negative
coach
I see
doing
with
that.
the BC Lions this year. The biggest negative. He's
And
got
the biggest positive for me is Buck Pierce is gone from my Bombers.
he needs to focus on being a head coach. He can't do that if he is being an offensive coordinator. You can't do it. There are many people out there that can barely be a head coach, never mind being two positions. And the only way that you should be able to do two positions if you've been doing both of them for quite some time. And he has not been a head coach before. See, the only person right now in the league that I would take as a head coach and a offensive coordinator would be who? Actually, there's probably two. One is actually a coach in the league right now, and one is not. I don't know, maybe is Paul Appolice and Jason Moss are the only ones that have been head coach and coordinator and probably have enough experience to do both roles at this point in time. Will they do them effectively and efficiently? I don't know. I don't see anybody arguing.
No,
I
you
don't.
make it good.
I don't know how to argue. Almost my entire career as an amateur coach, I was head coach and offensive coordinator. So
Why?
Because
You couldn't find anybody else to do it?
Nobody else would volunteer.
because I liked running the offense and I liked being the boss.
You
Fair
can
enough.
be the boss by letting somebody else run the offense. Anyhow, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
My iPad is about to die. Let's go through the Tunde Delicate.
A delicate.
I did it, a Delicate. I got it right.
Delicate.
He retires after 7 CFL seasons. Shea Patterson is excited to learn from Zach Caleros. I think that's a great place for him to play. How can you not? 100%. Scott Milanovich is pissed at Bo Levi Mitchell for not protecting the football. I was pissed at him. And drop it like it's hot. Snoop Dogg to play BC Lions home opener on Chuck's birthday.
Whoop, whoop.
Okay, so that's everything in there. Like I said, I'm losing my iPad, so I can't go searching for anything else. We're almost 2 hours onto the teams here, but we were 15 minutes waiting for Will to show up.
Had to make a cup of coffee. Sorry.
When are we doing the show? When are we doing the show? When are we doing the show? And then I go, now. And then he doesn't show up for another 15 minutes.
I wasn't ready now because I have.
Why were you asking?
To do. Because you're Your communication skills, buddy, suck.
Hey,
No,
no
no,
excuse,
I
Will. It's
told
like
you.
it's like Zach Kolaris getting suspended for not answering the call. Like now.
Yeah.
They suck.
No.
Your communication skills
No.
suck.
No, I have always said that we are going to start the show sometime between 7 and 7:30.
Yes.
And at
On
10
Wednesday,
minutes after 7,
Wednesday night.
at 10 minutes
On
after 7,
Wednesday
you
night.
asked me, when are we going to do the show?
Yes.
That would mean that somewhere in the next,
Are you done? Because you're not going to win this argument.
well, you're not going to win it either.
Well, I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah, there you go. Because that's,
Fair enough.
it's smart when you don't argue because you know you're wrong. Okay.
Everybody has an opinion, whether it's right or wrong. So.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
We're going to close the show off. This has been Let's
Yes,
Talk
we are.
CFL podcast episode number 604. I've been your host, Christopher Jones. I had fun. We enjoyed it. We did our predictions for the season. That's it. That's what's going to happen. We have football. First football game is May 19th.
Monday.
BC, Calgary in BC. And I understand all of the
Victoria.
games are being broadcast on CFL
CFL Plus.
They're streamed on CFL Plus.
There are
There's
two
two games being broadcast on TSN and RDS.
on their 5 channels.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the end of our show. Say goodnight, Rick.
Good night, CFL fans, and remember, all these predictions are made without ever a ball being snapped or a point being scored.
100%. We have no fucking idea what we're talking about. We're just pulling it out of our ass.
Never
True
do.
that. True that.
Charles.
Good night, folks. It's exciting time. We'll actually have a game to talk about next Monday or next week when we do the show. Who knows what kind of game it'll be, because first preseason game is usually a bunch of hopefuls, but we'll see what happens.
Is that the only game before our Wednesday show?
Yes, there's only the one.
Okay. And William.
Good night, everybody. Watch CFL football. Don't listen to our predictions because they're probably going to be wrong, but that's okay. We at least get to pick.
Hang on. Before we go, and
Yes.
we're not, it's not disappearing because we're not Blog Talk. Preseason games mean absolutely nothing. Agreed?
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Who's
they
gonna win
do.
the game between BC and Calgary. Rick.
Calgary.
William.
It's in BC.
It's in BC.
Yes, it's in BC.
Oh, BC's going to win 96-0 because Calgary's not going to bring in either starters.
Charles.
I'll also say BC.
Sparky. Oh, Sparky doesn't pick anybody. He's not going to win.
He's not here.
And CJ
Well,
is
he's not
taking
gonna-
the BC Lions.
Yeah, he's not going to, Sparky's not going to pick Calgary. We know that.
Yeah, because they're shit.
Apparently they're garbage,
Shit.
so
They're shit.
They're
They're
he'll
shit.
never
shit.
pick them. He's not going
They're
to pick them in the
shit.
regular season either. He's terrible.
I'm going to buy him a Stampeders t-shirt and I'm going to get their shit put on it, okay?
Yeah. Dump the stamps. I found that T-shirt today, Charles. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah. And what was
That was for a
there was
playoff
another one.
game.
There was what was the other one? Bomb the Bombers or
Something like that. It was the Winnipeg one. I think it was something like that.
yeah, I've got both of those. And I think there was one more. I think it had something to do with the Riders or
Yeah.
the Eskimos,
Yeah.
because it was the Eskimos back then. Okay, I'm going to sign off here. Where's my button here? I'm going to push this. So say good night, everybody, and thank you very much for coming, and take care.